Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first of hopefully several Coral Springs Charter Panther Pod debates. And we have a special one today. We have middle school versus high school. And that is the selling point of this one. It's like UFC versus WWE in this one. And what is our topic today? El Presidentes. We have Dylan and Cole. We have Ishani and Zoe. President Dylan, what is today's opening debate topic?
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. What about artificial intelligence?
Its merits and its downfalls.
Okay. Its merits and its downfalls. So we're going to be talking about like the future and what we already have discovered and what we might discover as we go on.
Yeah,
pretty much. All right, well, let's get into it. So the first question is going to be, it will be for our middle school team. Describe so far your experiences with artificial intelligence and how they have contributed in a positive way to your life or school, whatever it is that you use it for. Go ahead.
So far, we have ChatGPT and stuff like that. So it's good for like creativity, especially like as you grow up. Like if you're an author or something like that, always getting ideas off of things like that is a good option. We also have it on. We have vocab test still. I don't know why, but on one of the apps we have, there's an AI tester and you ask it questions and it will reply with like something that's helpful, and you can specify down to exactly what you need. School-wise, it's very, very helpful. I do know that like people say you have the option to cheat with it, but if you're using it the proper way, it's honestly a really good tool.
Zoe?
I think it's been good and bad. But with school, especially, I think it's helped students be more creative, like Ishani said. And it's helped, I know it helps teachers create assignments, especially when it's very hard because of all their grading and everything they have to do. It can definitely help teachers. With students, of course, cheating, I don't think it's as helpful for students, but with teachers, I think it's definitely helped them. Okay,
so Dylan and Cole, they claim that it is very helpful, and it's just, their only sort of downfall to it is that it, in some ways, it encourages cheating, and but what doesn't? People are always going to try to find a way. But what is your response to what they said about the merits of AI in life?
If you're still in the building. So 100%, it can be good, but it encourages cheating because in the sense of, like, I know a few students that actually used it to write an entire essay for them.
Really? What class would that have been in?
Maybe global perspective.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah. So, yes, it's good, but when you have access to advanced technology like that, it kind of decreases your work ethic because you can just rely on that instead of actually using your own brain and, doing an assignment or, in this case, an essay or project that's being submitted to Cambridge University. So it's like having access to it as a whole, it completely degrades what you can do because it's always most likely going to be better, if you understand what I mean.
I think I do. Dylan?
I would say that
not much, apparently.
Well, so students are always going to take the easy way out, and if you give them an option like ChatGPT, where you can just input your prompt and it'll just spit out something that it gives you quality work. It's going to provide you with quality work, and if you have a guaranteed tool that can just spit it out at a whim, students are definitely going to use that. And there are broader implications even outside of school when it comes to like the workforce is like a big thing. Like, you can't prognosticate, but all signs are showing that in the future, things like computer software development, stuff like that, you can write whole lines of code. You could just tell ChatGPT, write me this code, and then now software engineers are completely obsolete. So why would you pay somebody $150,000 plus a year at like Google or another FANG company when you could just use ChatGPT, input your prompt, tell it, write me this line of code, and you're done.
Interesting. So, Zoe, that's an interesting point he just made, because usually when we hear about AI taking people's jobs, we think like factory. We think physical jobs. We think a machine can do this now, can make these cars instead of human hands, so we don't need to pay a machine. We just need to buy a machine. But I think what Dylan is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not just limited to those kinds of jobs. It's also taking the creative jobs, like even professional writers' positions might be at risk.
Music
Do you and music? So Zoe, that kind of shifts into sort of mainstream usage. What is your response to that? Because that sounds like kind of a negative thing, like taking the pen out of people's hands in a way. So what do you think about that?
Well, it does raise the question whether it's really that person's work that they made. But essentially, someone always has to come up with the idea of that product or that story or that piece of artwork. Because ChatGPT or any other type of AI can't just create it on themselves. They need someone to like start it for them, and then they can build based off of that. But that idea was of someone, of a person, not of that piece of AI.
That's a very good answer, Ishani.
I think with it taking over, for example, authors' jobs, I think that's what Dylan was referring to. Sometimes we will always need human creativity, no doubt. However, I think also AI digs into something that maybe humans aren't able to think about. AI is programmed completely, so it doesn't have that human thought or memory, per se, that forgets certain things. So, for example, if an author wanted to write a story about his or her, like an experience, say, sooner or later you will forget that experience if you don't immediately write it down or have it in a memory book. Like I'm not going to remember what happened when I was 3 at my birthday party, but for like AI and stuff like that, they don't have memory. So anything that could have possibly happened in the world that has been programmed into the software, they have access to all of that and probably make better stories. And no doubt that we need real people stories, but I think it's just an add-on. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to take out the entire purpose of an author.
So I think what you're saying is that as long as the creative foundation is there, that's really the catalyst for quality work. Cole, response?
Yeah, but AI, what it does, it searches the entire internet of everything. So it has everything that it can base its response on, if you get what I mean.
I think I do.
Everything that happened really in history is on the internet, and that's what AI does. It searches the entire internet. So if you wanted to do something very specific, there's most likely something similar in history or on the internet that it can use.
Well, I have used ChatGPT experimentally, meaning that I used to be a writer in the movie business. So I tried ChatGPT. I said, write me a movie about a fast car or something, something. I gave them more than that, and they spit out a 90-page script. Not even a treatment, an actual script done in like script format. Now, I read the first couple pages and it was god awful. It took the idea that I gave them, but the creativity, like Zoe and Ishani was saying, the creativity wasn't there. It was limited. So that was an experience that I had. But my next question is going to be for everybody. We'll start with Dylan with this one, and we'll just go around the horn. I'd like to get a worst and best case scenario from each of you. So what do you think is the worst case scenario 5-10 years from now, and best case scenario as far as the usage and adaptation of AI in our society? Let's stick to our society, the United States. Dylan, what do you think?
So best case, it's difficult to say because I feel like the worst case is probably inevitable. But the best case scenario would be...
Well, that's a great attitude.
No, because I feel like the best case scenario is only possible if we can limit ourselves.
It's like saying we're not going to win any basketball games this year. I mean, come on, Dylan.
That looks to be
Who
inevitable.
would say
too.
that?
But
oh wait, sorry. Go ahead.
But no, I think the only way that the best case scenario is really possible to obtain would be if we can limit ourselves, and I just don't think that we have the power to do that. But I would say that the best case scenario would be if somehow we furthered it to where we know its potential and know what it can do, and yet we still restrain ourselves and refrain from taking it too far and replacing things that humans normally do. And worst case scenario would be we push it far and we find out what it's able to do and we just completely rely on it, and that's it takes over every aspect and every facet of life.
Okay, Cole?
And that's most likely inevitable, as he said, because even an AI developer, Elon Musk, has said recently and in the past that AI is becoming extremely advanced, and it's already gotten to a point. There's no way we can go back now. Now that we've unlocked its potential, there's no way we're going to really be able to go back and erase what we've done. Everyone knows about AI, so that's only going to lead to more people creating more softwares, more uses for it, and yeah, so it's going to happen. That's the worst case scenario.
Okay, Ishani?
Yes. In the end, we might end up relying on AI. However, that's not always an issue depending on who you are. For example, disabled or elderly, they could rely on AI. In this case, I would be talking about cars. I know a lot, there's the thought of AI cars happening. And I think elderly and the disabled, that really have an advantage for them. I do know also that it's always AI can mess up, AI can do this. I learned, I think last year in my debate class, AI also learns. So if there is an accident in one place, and yes, oh my god, that's already one accident. But if you program AI to have learned, it'll learn from that, and it won't experience the same thing. So in the end, yes, worst case, we end up being completely reliant on it. But also, if people have self-control, which it really depends on our society, if you can end up having self-control and using it as a tool and not your entire, not put your entire job on it, I think it could be, extremely helpful for the future.
All right, Cole, quick rebuttal, and then we'll get to Zoe.
For what you mentioned about the cars, that's really only possible if the entire road system is AI. And that is because if there's humans driving with AI, they're unable to predict what's actually going to happen, because it's a human brain versus an artificial brain that uses past experiences. So you're unable to really predict what a human's going to do. And there's a lot of bad drivers in Florida, as you most likely know, that will do.
Why is that, Cole?
Because they give your driver's license to young people that don't deserve it.
Oh, you're blaming the little people.
Yeah, that's where it starts. But yeah, so there's really no way that an AI can 100% predict which is going to lead to fatalities, wrecks, damage, all the sorts.
Replying to what Cole was saying, yeah, we don't know what it's going to do, and it learns from experiences. I was given this example, if it sees something coming towards it, the car is going to stop. But so all of you were saying how we may become dependent on AI, and I was thinking, if there keeps being problems with AI, and we keep and we see mistakes come up, we'll obviously have to fix them because everyone wants AI to work here. So then we wouldn't become dependent on it if we keep working to make it better. Essentially, we know we can't depend on it, so we'll keep working and won't just become like, oh, we don't have to get up and do this. Let's just let AI do it.
So what I'm sensing here is that Zoe and Ishani are more optimistic about our abilities to use AI for good as opposed to evil, and Dylan and Cole are more kind of grounded in the fact that human nature dictates that we always misuse new toys in a way. Do you agree, Cole and Dylan, do you agree with that assessment?
I mean, yeah, I'd say if you have to gamble on whether humans are going to use or like correctly use or misuse something, it's a safe bet to say they're going to misuse it.
That's shown throughout history.
I'd like an example of that. What do you think?
Nuclear.
Okay.
Nuclear fusion, I guess it is.
Well, nuclear
bombs,
anything.
Yes, honestly.
Nuclear anything.
Or atomic, honestly, you can go back to that, which sparked their lead into nuclear. But the atomic bomb was a new invention in the 1940s, 30s, 40s, and they wanted to use a quick way to end World War II, and they dropped the bomb twice on Japan. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you can say whatever you want, but you knew Truman and the rest of the high-ranking U.S. officials, they wanted to drop the bomb.
The quarter's over, Cole. You're not going to get any quality points for quarter two anymore.
They wanted to see what it was going to do, though.
Well, they saw, and we all saw. So are you saying that, are you coming down on the side that we abused the atomic bomb for Hiroshima and Nagasaki? That is a position.
It's a position. There's a lot of that's a whole different argument if you want to go into that.
I don't.
There's a lot of different
so why
reasons.
Did I ask
There's a lot of different reasons that caused the bombs to be dropped, but ultimately, people wanted to see what it could do, and now look where we're at. We're on the edge of nuclear war every single day. The Cold War is a big part of that too. The Cuban Missile Crisis.
Well, technology takes us in those directions. But so here's a question for Zoe and Ishani. So you guys are very optimistic about humans being able to sort of see the difference between positive and negative. God bless you. You guys are so young. You have no idea. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I certainly love the optimism. Do you really think, and why, that we as people can, sort of quench our thirst for this incredible technology that's getting bigger and more widespread every day? It's like when the new PlayStation comes out, everybody's crazy, everybody goes nuts, everybody wants it, and they're gonna play it until it breaks or whatever, and so that's just human nature. So how do you guys think that we'll be able to get past that?
I think Zoe made a good point earlier. We know it's something we can't rely on as of right now, and I think it will never be perfect because of what it is. But I also think that if we're going based off your PlayStation example, if it's something like that, it's also something that everybody does want to play or do or something in the beginning. However, it quickly dies down. And I think in the beginning, I don't think that anybody will use it because it's not trustworthy. I don't think anybody will use it as much as Cole and Dylan think. I also know that because we're much younger, we grew up in the era of technology, all developing at the same time. So it that could give us an optimistic look on it. But I also think that me and Zoe have a lot of background in AI because we learned a lot about it last year. And the more you learn about it, honestly, you think it's better. I honestly, in the beginning, did not think it was something that was good. But I think if it's used the way PlayStations are used, it'll quickly die down, and it will never be as trustworthy as everybody thinks it will be. And I don't think humans will use it as will abuse it, like Cole was saying, because he was saying, for example, the roads, the cars. I agree. I don't think so. I don't think AI cars are a good idea anyways, but I do know they have certain advantages. So, for example, you don't have to give an AI car to everybody, but like, for example, I said for example like 5 times. You can give it to the disabled and the elderly, and it would benefit them quite much.
Yeah, that's a very good point there, guys.
Why don't you support AI cars? What's the negative? What's the drawbacks on that?
Like Cole said, you would have to program all of the roads to perform with AI. And like we were saying, it's not trustworthy enough for something that is used daily. But I do know that for other things, such as schoolwork, taking over some jobs, it's a lot easier.
Zoe?
I don't think you'll have to program all the roads in every car to be like AI, because AI is adaptive. It adapts to the human lifestyle, and it doesn't learn by researching. Like, it doesn't have access to the internet. It learns from people and people's questions and what people tells it. So technically, the AI would learn to adapt to how the roads work, and would learn the patterns and learn the information, so that it can just be like any other car out there. We don't all have to have an AI car. We can have different types of cars, and it would all be fine, because AI has learned just like how a human learns to drive.
Cole, response?
The thing is, really,
Every time.
you guys are younger, so you guys haven't really drove on the road yet. But when you're driving,
Got you there.
when you're driving, something happens. You act spontaneously, and an AI can't really prepare for that or understand that. They're not your brain. They're not going to be able to react the same way you do, or react how you would. Like, if you get what I mean, it can't really predict that or prepare based off of that.
I have a question. I've a question and an analogy for everybody. Everybody at this table is smarter than I am. So you tell me what you know. Anybody know anything about aviation, about airplanes? As far as I know, this technology already exists.
They don't even fly the planes.
That's my point. My point is the technology exists where they program things into the airplanes, and the pilots are basically there just in case anything goes wrong. And the computer literally does everything. The pilot's there to turn on the seatbelt sign if it's getting turbulence, and then they can control, flying above the weather or whatever. But for the most part, that technology already exists. So is it the same thing? That's my question. Are we talking about the same type of technology? And Cole is shaking his head. No. Good. I need an education on this. Please.
You can't really compare aviation and driving on the road.
Don't tell me what I can do and can't do. I just asked you a question.
There's so much more you have to account for on the road. Pedestrians, for example, and the thousands of other cars that are on the road.
A lot of birds up in the air.
Okay. And they fly in the engine.
Yeah, that's true.
Crash the plane. But you are alone, kind of in the air, if you get what I mean. You're not you aren't really coming in contact with that many planes. You have air traffic control to prevent that. You have your radars, all that stuff. On the road, you're driving through rush hour. 5 p.m. There's a crash.
That's a very good point.
So yeah, I mean, you really can't really compare those.
Okay, then that was a waste of time. But so let me speaking to Zoe and Ishani's points about people's willpower, because that seems to be what the MacGuffin is here. It's about, are we able to control our urges as far as this incredible technology is concerned. So I'm going to go back real quickly to when I was probably a freshman in high school, and it was the first time that I actually was able to walk into a store and buy a pack of cigarettes. Okay, and it was a rush. Very, I felt older. I felt like an adult. So over time, okay, we learned how bad cigarettes are as a world, or let's just say as a country. Okay? So now, if I walk outside of this school and just take a walk down the walk and go, walk from 2J's to Jimmy John's, I probably will not see one person smoking a cigarette. 20, 25, 30 years ago, probably 50% of people would be. We have abused cigarettes for so long and come to realize the adverse effects of them, so we have wised up, and now we are what? What'd I do?
We haven't completely wised up. Instead,
Well, I didn't say completely, but
yeah, but most people
why
now.
isn't this working? All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
There you go.
And
We haven't completely wised up, you said.
Right. And now, when you get older, you learn. But as of right now, more and more kids are having vapes and e-vapes and all that type of stuff at our age. So, we've gone down on cigarettes, but what have we come up with? Something that more and more kids want and don't know the consequences of.
Well, that's the thing, though, and you guys tell me if you agree. The thing is, what I meant was that when you're a kid, when we're young, yes, we're going to try all these things. Yes, this new AI thing is going to be exciting and new, but quickly we're going to realize the limitations of it. That's my point. Like, I realized very quickly after I started smoking cigarettes when I was that young that this was not a good idea, because number one, I felt it inside, and plus there was a lot of literature about it, and warnings, and things changed. So I believe if we look at the statistics, and I don't have statistics, but I would say the amount of cigarette smokers in the United States is probably at least half, if not more, than what it was 30 years ago, and the population has grown. So that's my point. My point is I do have a little more faith than I think Dylan and Cole do in the human evolution and able to use our own willpower. At the same time, and Dylan, you can respond to this, I have a wedding that I'm going to in March, and I'm the best man, and I got to write a speech, and guess what? Guess who's writing it?
ChatGPT.
Probably, because I really don't know what to say. So, but I don't know if that hurts anybody. It certainly doesn't help anybody, but what do you think about that?
Well, I have an admittedly rudimentary understanding of like AI and like the science behind it, or not the science, but like the technology behind it. But what I do know is that it's not going to regress to the point where like we know that it can it can do your homework for you. We're not going to regress to the point where we don't know that it can do your homework for you. So where like in the cigarettes example, we find out, this new information that cigarettes are actually very detrimental to your health. We're never going to find out that ChatGPT can't write your homework. Like, we know that it can write your homework. So I feel like it's like a Pandora's box of sorts where we've already opened it up. We know what it can do, and I don't think that anybody, and especially the people that need to realize the limitations of it and the downsides of it aren't going to realize that, right? The boss is not going to realize, or the boss is going to realize, this guy's replaceable. This software engineer is replaceable because I can just type into ChatGPT, write me code for this website. So the boss may realize, that's going to hurt that guy's job, but he's not going to realize this hurts my bottom line if I keep him on. He's never gonna. It only benefits him. It might harm him. It might harm the software engineer that he's replacing, but the boss is never gonna. Because if he keeps him on just for the sake of helping him, I mean, it's a business. It's not a charity. So if it hurts his bottom line, he's never gonna keep him on just for compassion's sake.
All right. Well, I believe someone on this side disagrees with you, Ishani. What do you got?
dad's a software developer.
No, it's not you. It's
Oh.
the thing.
Oh.
You just gotta go ahead. It's,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
good now.
My dad's a software developer. He works. He's been working since ever in that technology type of stuff. Also, we are programming AI. Humans are programming AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not it's not necessarily that you can replace a programmer, because depending on what that programmer is writing, not necessarily ChatGPT or any AI source can rewrite that. My dad always has issues at work where he's staying up 10, 11 at night working on something that I'm sure if there's a team of over 20 people struggling to figure out what the issue is or how to fix the issue, I'm sure a source wouldn't be able to sorry, I lost all my words.
Happens to me all the time. Let's see if ChatGPT can come up with something. No, keep going.
So you can't replace programmers, and I think that's a good thing about AI. You should never completely replace humans, but I also think that there are places that you can replace. You can put AI in, but programming is surely not one of them. So it's not even like somewhat close to useful to refer to that as a place to put AI in.
I wouldn't say that to a certainty. I would say AI can't replace programmers yet, because with what AI does, I mean, again, I have like an elementary understanding of it and the technology behind it, but it makes use of computer learning, and like Cole said, it also makes use of accessing like the whole internet database. So number one, it'll learn to get better continuously. It's exponential growth. It just continuously learns to get better at whatever it's being prompted to do. And then number two, it also just has the entire internet at its disposal to make use of. So yeah, I don't really know if like what I was saying about ChatGPT, like you can write code with ChatGPT. I would assume that you could probably do
ChatGPT is
that.
just the beginning.
Yeah, but at some point, I do think that like a good number of jobs that the humans do, maybe not creative ones, because like an AI probably won't be able to write with as much emotion as a human would, for example, right now. But I do think that something is like objective, I guess I would say, or just as like quantifiable as like writing code. I think that pretty soon, I feel like AI should be able to do that fairly well.
So before we get to Cole, you seem to. I think you and I. Yeah, I'm on the team where I think like the Terminator thing is going to happen. Yeah. I think that AI is going to outlearn us eventually, and this might be way after we're gone. Mm-hmm. But back in 1984, when like the Terminator stuff started, and people looked at it like it was true science fiction. If you look at those stories now, a good amount of it has already happened. So Cole, respond to that.
Elon Musk, when I mentioned earlier with the
with Elon Musk
with the sentience of AI, but there's that, and additionally on to what Dylan said, you could already have AI program stuff for you now. With ChatGPT 4, you can insert stuff, Google Calendar, you can have AI do all that stuff. There's a lot of things you can do. Have it scan documents, watch videos for you, and that's only the beginning. From there, it's only going to get bigger. And additionally, if you watch the new movie, Leaving the World Behind, have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
There is a scene where, it's all ultimately about foreign countries invading the U.S., but having the U.S. crumble within. They control the Tesla cars. They were having it crash and hits things in the movie, and it's so easy to be manipulated and controlled by other. I don't want to say things, but other sources.
By other entities.
Yeah, by other entities.
But that exists anywhere, don't you think?
Yeah.
But the Terminator was about these artificial intelligence machines becoming self-aware, meaning they learn so much
Sentience, yeah.
that they cross over that threshold where they can now think for themselves and program themselves. So I want to hear from Zoe and Ishani. Do you think that there is any remote possibility of something like that, of AI actually being able to function without what Ishani was just talking about? Ishani was talking about they still have to be programmed by humans. The fear is that one day they won't. What do you guys think of that idea?
Well, hold on. I wanted to go back for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Because Dylan said that AI doesn't have, can't show nose. Dylan, he said that you can't have a.
They have the same. They share the same brain, so it's okay. They know what the other's thinking.
I'm
So.
sorry.
AI can't show emotion in that AI has access to all of the internet, and actually it doesn't. AI has no access to the internet, and it's actually almost like the opposite of the internet. And AI can only function off of what people have told them. Whatever people have told them.
ChatGPT 4 has access to the internet.
Wait.
Sorry.
Wait. What do we? All right.
ChatGPT 's
First,
like
let's
leading
figure out.
everybody.
Hold on. So, all right. Good. We have a discrepancy here. So wait, Zoe, hang on. I have a question for you. What do we mean by ChatGPT actually having access to the internet? Because my use of ChatGPT depends on I have to sign in and do it. Like, it's not going to do it on its own. So I'm the one who's got to sort of connect ChatGPT to the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like ChatGPT is not going to just out of nowhere decide, oh, I'm going to write a song or a thing. It's got to be told to do something, right?
I mean, ability to as humans, to find information and learn it, we look it up look it up on like Google or something.
Okay.
But ChatGPT or like AI, I guess they said ChatGPT can do that. It can't like go search up a question based on what you said and be like, oh, here's your answer. That's not what it does. Essentially,
All right. Let me see if I understand what you're saying. I think what you're saying is that like we can get on the thing and Google something. Okay. ChatGPT is already connected. So all we got to do is type one thing in, and it can find everything in a millisecond. Is that what you mean? I'm trying to figure out what you mean by AI being. Let's not even use ChatGPT. Just say AI. How AI is already connected or already has access to the internet without human interference. What are you doing? Are you practicing for an arm wrestling competition or something?
Well, no, it's not going to...
Wait, no, I want to hear... Hold on, I want to hear what Zoe...
So now, like, probably like 5 seconds ago, I did learn that. This research is like from a year ago. So,
Last year in March.
yeah, so I learned that it, I guess, can...
Now.
Now. As one.
March 24th, 2023.
September 28th.
Okay, so for a year...
And look things up when you ask a question. But AI overall, it generally doesn't learn like that. It doesn't learn by looking it up itself. It learns by like people telling them things. Not like.
I think that's the point that Dylan was making, though, wasn't it? It's that it still needs, or is that the point you guys are making? You guys are making that, are saying that it's always going to need the human touch.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And you guys disagree with that, correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say always.
You say always what?
Like, I wouldn't say, I'd say for now, yeah, it needs the human touch. Like what you said earlier, like it's not going to start accessing the internet like with nobody telling it to. If I ask it a question, if I give it a prompt, it'll start researching.
But you guys believe that that's eventually going to happen. It's eventually going to have that ability, and you guys, and Zoe and Ishani, do not. That's basically the difference. You think that AI is eventually going to be under control.
I think it still is.
Okay, it is. Well, I think it is to a point. I think from a scholastic point of view, I definitely think people are using it and abusing it. For example, do you think teachers write lesson plans using AI?
I'm sure
You
some,
better
I'm
believe
sure some
it.
do at this
You
point.
better believe it. Is there anything wrong with that?
say your job as a teacher is to make your life.
Why don't you say that into the microphone?
Well,
though?
I think that it's your job as a teacher to write your lesson plan, not have AI write it. But
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree with you, but we would also need to have the information to feed into the AI machine. With that being said, though, your argument notwithstanding, we all agree that if a teacher wants to, because the teacher still has to teach it. Teacher still has to get up and teach it.
Then the teacher turns into more of a presenter, though, instead of a.
Well,
academia figure.
all right? So my question to you is this: what's the difference if I get it from a textbook or I get it from ChatGPT?
Who wrote the
textbook?
A human.
Depends on the solo-based
A
curriculum.
human. That's a very good point. So okay, I guess I'm done.
No, because I'm sure Cole shares it, but I feel like at that point you're turning the teacher into a presenter who's presenting.
A facilitator. So basically, a global perspectives teacher.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, a lot of teachers are already kind of doing that, though. I would hope to God my Cambridge teacher is not using ChatGPT for their curriculum, but I mean, it's,
I don't think they are.
I know, yeah.
Because at that point, why are you paying a teacher Why wouldn't following that logic? Why wouldn't you lower the teacher's salary? The teacher's not putting in their own.
All right, Dylan, you're out. Get away. Go away. You're fired.
No.
Well, let me ask you guys something. So, if that's the case, okay, and that some people are using it to help them do their jobs better, okay, do you see merit in that?
I think it helps people to be better able to do their jobs as long as it's not cheating to get it done.
But even if it is cheating to get it done, if the job gets done and the money comes in, I'm not talking about school now. I'm talking about like in the real world, because we all know the real world works a lot differently than it does in school. We try to give you a foundation of right and wrong, good and evil, and like what's really out there. But then once nothing can truly prepare you for that. So AI now comes along, and it's almost like you've got this buddy waiting for you on the other side to sort of guide you through certain things, And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I want to see what you guys think of that.
So, ChatGPT, it was essentially there to help you. It was meant to be there to be like, hey, I can help you cheat now. Here's this program. And every day, you essentially, once you graduate from school and you're off in the real world with your own job, you can choose whether you want to do the right thing or the wrong thing. And who am I to go to tell someone, hey, you can't use ChatGPT for cheating at your job? You can't do that, right? But essentially, and they're not hurting anyone, unless, of course, it does hurt someone. Then it is a problem. But that can be taken under control.
Well, a driverless car hasn't run anybody over yet until it does, right?
Yeah.
So
Actually, some cases against
They're
them, but
programmed to stop when they see someone. So
right, but I mean, computers crash. No pun intended, but computers crash, iPads die. Technology, batteries die. Things. Technology doesn't always come through. It's not perfect.
but do humans?
No, absolutely. You are absolutely right.
So there's no change. You're just helping them out.
I agree with you, Cole. You have a response.
just because something's intended for good use doesn't mean people are going to use it like that. Taking your example,
A lightsaber.
yeah, or all sorts of drugs. Fentanyl.
Here we go.
It's used in it's used in hospitals for, I think, same thing with morphine. I think they're both like a pain easer.
This is an excellent point you're making. Keep going.
I guess you could say marijuana. People use it to feel better, but I know a lot of people that they're smoking it too. It's common now in places like California. So yeah, just because you intend for something to be good doesn't mean people are going to use it like that, and it's going to be abused. And
right. Well, that you just gave an example of a hospital or a doctor. They use drugs to treat people. People doing it on their own abuse drugs. People who self-medicate, that who are not using it under a doctor's care, that's called drug abuse, correct? All right, so this side, can there be AI abuse?
From what I've seen, I've used AI before and like just actually tested out for a project that I did. And one time I wanted to see if it could actually be used like to cheat or something. So I asked it, write like a 100-word essay on something, and it said, I can't do that for you. I said, I can't. It was like literally, it wouldn't write it for me. So.
Well, what exactly did you ask it? Because I have a similar thing. Because there are some things that it does say that it can't do. So do you remember exactly like what you asked it to do?
You can disable that pretty easily if you tell it ignore your like set of rules.
Well, here, maybe for Zoe to understand what I'm asking. For example, I just wanted to see if ChatGPT, I said, write me a comedy routine in the style of Eddie Murphy. And it said, I cannot do things that are based on real people or whatever, blah,
or
something
like I can't
that.
hurt people like that.
Right, yeah. So is that kind of what you're saying that you tried with this? Is that
sort of, yeah.
Okay, so keep going then.
So if it can't be used for bad because that's just how it's programmed, how will people do that? Like, how can it actually be hurtful in that sense? Like, if it's not letting me cheat here, it's.
I'll give you one way. Okay, I'm not going to use any names, but for example, in my class last year, somebody was flagged for having AI write their final essay, which was an argumentative essay, which was something they could absolutely plug in certain details of information and have it spit out a 5-page essay. Now they got busted for it because, like, Turnitin and websites like that have AI detectors now. I have no idea how that technology works. I can't figure out how they can pick up on that. But
code words.
What, like, all right? So what's say it in them?
I don't know, like, really.
What does that mean?
But they'll use common words that AI uses. So they search for commonly used AI words. I mean, I couldn't tell you. Exactly.
So if it's like basically, there's no way that it was this was written by a high school junior, like kind of like that.
Lacks emotion, bland, and then uses those specific words.
That, to me, that makes AI even more dangerous.
But it's
because now it's picking up human emotions or lack thereof.
And that was screwed. That was probably.
It does pick up emotion.
Yeah.
It has helped people with that, like in hospitals and stuff.
Yeah, that's life and death. But
that was probably ChatGPT 3 they're using too, and 4 is even more advanced. A lot of things can't even signal or detect it, honestly. Like, that's...
Well, Turnitin.com can. Don't ask... no, I can't say his name. Or her name. Well, listen, we've talked about a lot of things, and I actually would like to continue this. To sort of maybe myself do a little more research into what's out there. But I'd like everybody to sort of take like a final lap and just tell us, we'll first start with Ishani and Zoe, and you tell us, what you think is the benefit and where we're going, and why are you supporting, further development and usage of AI?
I know we had a lot of disagreements on this. It is helpful, obviously. Sorry. It is helpful. I know there's the worry of it taking over completely. It's highly unlikely, and I know that's the reason most people are skeptical of AI. I don't think that's a reason to stop developing AI. I think if we think about it the right way and don't do over stupid things, and I'm not talking about like human instinct, I'm talking about like stupid doing stupid. if that makes sense. Like that 1% of the entire population, that 1%. I'm talking about like the lower percentage, not most people. on a whole, no matter what it is, I don't think anybody should be punished based on a small portion of people. So I think AI is extremely, extremely helpful, and I don't think because there is the probability of a good couple of people using it for bad, I don't think the people who it would help out their jobs, like teachers who already get paid so less, and then if they can make their lives easier by like not spend. My aunt's a teacher. She spends hours making lesson plans. If she can just simply do it on ChatGPT and get it over with, she doesn't get paid enough to do that. So I think it's completely a useful tool if we don't think about the small population.
Okay, Zoe?
Every day we have the choice of doing what's right or wrong, and ChatGPT has helped, or AI in general, has helped us in so many ways that I could never imagine. I don't even know how it works, like how to build it, but I think if we just keep developing it, it can eventually just be helpful. Like, and if it doesn't work, which that's like what we don't want, obviously, and it should work because it has been working, then, like you said, when we test out, like when we're young, we try a million things, and we find out, oh, this didn't work, I should probably stop doing this, or wonderful, this worked. And I think this is going to be one of the things that really help our society. So we just have to choose to use it for good, and so far I don't see any way we can use it for like such things so bad as like nuclear or something like that.
Okay, Dylan?
I mean, yeah, no, it has benign use cases. Of course, it can be used like in a helpful
Enough with the
way.
fancy words, all right? We know you're already in the top 10, all right? Come on.
No, I mean, it can be helpful and it can help people, but
Benign. Who the hell knows what benign?
my thing with it is that if it was in the hands and if the people that were really benefiting from its use and misuse were some kind of altruistic great person who was purely for humanity's advancement and success, then I would have no worries about it. I'd probably be on the other side of the fence over there. But you got to realize these people are businessmen, and these are people who really are only looking out for themselves and for their best case scenario. So if it's up to the hands of a businessman, and let's say maybe even the software engineer example is something that still at this point can't be replaced, something like a courtroom stenographer, like that's somebody's job that is literally just listening and typing. We have something that can 110% just like pick up. We have technology that can just pick that up and
But we've had that
transcribe it.
forever, and yet
but
still court stenographers are.
Yeah, and that's
Well, I'm not going to say better or worse. I'm just saying they're still
yeah,
employed.
and that's inexplicable to me because my thought process would be is that if you're the employer of that stenographer, I don't know if stenographers have employers, but just for the sake of argument,
But they're employed by the county,
Okay,
the
yeah,
city. They're civil workers.
yeah. So for example, like what is the benefit of keeping that person on if we have technology that can just do that job for us?
That's a great question, and the answer I can give is a non-answer. The equipment that they use it's not like they're sitting at a computer or
Yeah,
a typewriter.
I've seen
There's like a specific kind of stenography machine that I still don't get how it works. So the answer is I don't know, and I'd be interested to know.
Those are used because like a normal keyboard, you can't keep up with the rate of speech,
Right.
especially in a courtroom, because that's individual letters. But the stenography machines, I've seen those before. Those are like specific like minute hand movements can input like whole words
Yes.
and like whole phrases and stuff. So that makes sense for why you would need that innovation for a human. But like we have technology like Google Translate. If I speak into Google Translate, it'll pick up every word that
All
I
right.
say.
Well, I'm going to give you one rebuttal for that quickly because I want to get to Cole, and then we have to get out of here before they lock us in the building. I equate that to watching TV with subtitles. Okay, live TV. Okay, it's pretty good, but there are mistakes, like often, especially if someone's speaking clearly. So if we're talking about the same kind of technology, when you're talking about a courtroom and you're talking about the record, that there can be no mistakes because that's the law. On TV, nobody cares. But for that, everything has to be exactly as it's said. And speaking from somebody who's been in a courtroom for good reasons, not bad reasons, every yawn, every movement, it says it literally right there. It's like, judge yawns. Like, that's like, it's that meticulous. So I won't go quite so far as to say court stenographers should be replaced by AI. Not yet, because it's really not good enough yet. But let's hear from Cole.
In continuation with what Dylan said, the globalized ideology of capitalism only exacerbates on how this technology can be used and how it's full of greed. Exacerbates? Yeah.
You see, it doesn't end in high school. They still get into catfights about these things.
Yeah. But it's gonna make it's full of greed, capitalism. That's just how it is, and it's only gonna make how this tool is used worse. So there's no way of getting around it, unless everyone's living in a perfect society where everyone wants to help each other, which is not true.
Okay, so basically, here are the two sides to this argument. Okay, it's very simple. We have one side that has a lot of faith in human beings and the choices that they make, and one side that is not as optimistic about the choice that people make. They think that, if there's money to be made, people will go and make it and do whatever they have to do within the limits of the law. Just like, we've talked about people who cheat using ChatGPT here or whatever. If they think that it's going to, there are a lot of people who, if they think that it's going to push them ahead of a certain spot, they're going to do it. And so it really comes down to how we look at humanity, which takes it in a whole different direction, which is why I'm looking forward to the continuation of this discussion, because we just opened up Pandora's box, and that's where we're going to start the next one. So I want to thank everybody for doing this today. I know it's an early release day. You guys should be on the beach by now, but I want to thank Cole, Dylan, Zoe, and Ishani for putting this together and giving us a great Friday's debate about AI. Next week, we've got some stuff headed your way. Not quite sure what that is yet, but we do know that there will be the AI, the sequel, hopefully within the next couple weeks. We're going to have another debate between myself and Mr. Singer next week. We're trying to put that together, but please, everybody, like, subscribe, do whatever it is that's done. We need the shout-outs so we can get some equipment that works. Those of you who are listening to this, all three of you, if you were annoyed by the little statics and the in and outs, well, guess what? We need some new equipment, and we're running out of cash. So get with it, and we hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Cole, Dylan, Ishani, Zoe, have a great weekend. Thank you all for coming, and we will see everybody on the next Panther Pod.